Welcome back to Universally Speaking, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another recap of everything Universe Mode this week. We're going to change up the format slightly this week, as we'll also be talking about the World Cup of Professional Wrestling, as that just got underway. So let's not delay, and let's get right into the action. We begin this week with a banging episode of NXT that was capped off with a brilliant main event for the NXT Women's Championship. Sasha Banks and Candice LeRae put on a hell of a contest for the title in front of a sold-out Hammerstein ballroom, and it was LeRae that would unfortunately ultimately fall short. LeRae drew on everything she had and took a major risk heading to the top rope for a Hurricane Rana, and Banks was able to brilliantly counter. A second rope diving DDT and a Banks statement later, and it was the boss that would prevail. But it wasn't over for Banks there. Dakota Kai would then burst onto the championship celebrations and ruin the party for Sasha Banks, proving that even if you have similar motives, when the championship is there for the taking, the two baddest women in NXT will do whatever it takes. A collision between these two is certainly mouthwatering. Up next, we head to SmackDown in the Blue Brand and yet another massive championship main event when Keith Lee held yet another Intercontinental Championship Open Challenge. The challenge was answered with some Olays. That's right, we found out that El Generico had been traded to the Blue Brand and was now a SmackDown superstar. This match is worth watching back in full because, ladies and gentlemen, it was full of incredible action. Generico had all of his resilience on full display, taking everything Lee had to give, but ultimately it was Lee who would actually lose the match via countout. Now, Lee was on the verge of defeating Generico, you could argue, when Dominic Mysterio would run down to ringside. He would then cause a distraction for long enough that Lee would get counted out. Dominic, heeding the advice of his father to think outside the box and get into your potential opponent's head, you feel like you are a little bit outmatched physically. Lee retains the title but loses the match in what was an instant classic in the making. On to Raw now, and Drew McIntyre opening the show. He was at first asking a question. He was asking why he was attacked by Kane. But that quickly shifted to an attitude of, I don't care why he attacked me. I just want the old Kane. Drew McIntyre wants Hellfire and Brimstone to be brought in full force. He wants the big red machine. And this really was a case of be careful what you wish for, because Drew McIntyre certainly got what he asked for. Kane would appear through the flames and bring the fight to McIntyre. And they fought all over the entrance ramp until finally it was the big red machine that would chokeslam McIntyre all the way through the announce table, leaving him laying in a heap. McIntyre certainly may not care why Kane has attacked him, but he certainly cares that he has. This one ain't over. Not by a long shot. And finally, we're going to talk about the World Cup of Professional Wrestling after it got underway this week. With special guest commentator Pro Jake in the hot seat, we saw three incredibly entertaining matches, including the main event, which saw a huge upset to kick off the tournament, with Mark Andrews getting a monumental pinfall victory over Pete Dunne in the Battle of the UK. It was a typically dominant Pete Dunne display that seemed as though it was destined for a bitter end for the Welshman, but instead, something quite remarkable happened. Mark Andrews was able to counter the bitter end into a Stundog Millionaire for the unlikely pinfall. It certainly stunned the entire MSG crowd and, indeed, the entire WWE universe, showing that in this tournament, literally anything can happen, and it probably will. For results from all the shows, including the World Cup, be sure to head to myt13.com and check it all out. This week on Raw, we will be kicking off the show with Shane McMahon, who has vowed to shake Raw to its very foundation and bring the chaos to a close with a major announcement. There are all kinds of rumors swirling about what Shane McMahon will possibly do, but we will find out first thing on Monday Night Raw. And on SmackDown, a massive Women's Championship #1 contenders match as Ronda Rousey makes her singles debut against Sonya Deville, with the winner heading to No Way Out to face Toni Storm for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We saw Ronda Rousey make her in-ring debut in the Royal Rumble with an incredibly impressive performance, but this time it's Rousey in her singles debut against Deville. Could she head directly to No Way Out? Could she potentially win the Women's Championship right away? This one simply can't be missed. And on NXT, we are going to bear witness to one of the most anticipated championship matches in recent memory, when Adam Cole defends the NXT Championship against a battered and bruised Aleister Black. We saw Adam Cole decimate Black in the backstage area just after NXT went off the air, and everybody's wondering, will Black be fit to compete? And if he is, will he be anywhere near 100%? All these questions and more will be answered this coming week. As we always say here, ladies and gentlemen, it's so important to have notifications on as we go live every single episode of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, the World Cup, and all of the pay-per-views. And there are tons of ways you can support the channel, like heading to our newly rebooted website, myt13.com, for special website exclusive videos and information. There's also a shop section if you want to go above and beyond with your support. It contains the Patreon, where if you sign up as a mid-carder or above, you can get early access to every single video on the channel. There's also the link to the Murphs Elite that is indeed right here on YouTube if you click the join button, where you can get access to a special sub badge and emotes to use in the live chat every single premiere. Plus also, the Teespring store is open for business 24 hours a day if you want to pick up some MYT13 merch, which also includes, of course, the ESM endorsed Elite line as well. As always, ladies and gentlemen, from MyT13, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.